Let me reference you. Don't turn there because of time. But in Hebrews chapter 12, the writer to the Hebrews says, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily besets us. The Greek word for sin there is hamartia or hamartia. It means missing the mark. It is the most comprehensive term for moral failure. The writer is addressing Timothy, and he's addressing stronger believers, weaker believers, all believers. But what Paul is saying to Timothy here is if you and I will purge ourselves not of wickedness, not of pornographic type of living or thinking, if we would purge ourselves of lawlessness, he's talking about those sins that are more acceptable to Christianity. He's talking about sins that easily entangle us, that at first blush, they're really not that bad. Do you realize how many sins Christians lives with that really aren't that bad type of sins? They're not pornographic type of sins. They're not graphic sins. They're not an attitude of lawlessness and I do whatever I want. What Paul is talking about to Timothy here are socially acceptable sins. And the church is full of those. Sins that we allow ourselves because they don't fall anywhere close to the other categories. But we know we really ought not be doing them. Gossip is not pornographic. Gossip is not lawlessness. Being obese is not lawless. Telling little white lies. All those socially acceptable sins to Christianity is what Paul is addressing. So what Paul is saying is this: Timothy, if you really want to be honorable to God, be honored by Him and used by Him, and to be meet for the Master's cause, you're going to have to clean up your whole act. I'm so glad that you're not down at the beginning stage where you're battling lawlessness in an attitude of submitting to Christ. I'm glad you moved past that stage and you realize that you're under the command of Christ and you need to submit to His law. And not only do you submit to His law, but you submit to man's law because God commands you to. I'm glad you're past that. And I'm glad you're past the whole pornographic stuff. You're not worrying about what you read and what you hear and what you watch. You clean that act up and you're really not in that camp. You're past that. You really have come a long way, Timothy. But if you really want to be honorable to God and used of His meat, you have to clean up your whole act. And he says here in verse number 19, the latter part, and let everyone that names the name of Christ depart from sin. Sin in any form, even the socially acceptable ones. And you can say, but Pastor, you have to understand, no one's perfect. I know that. The Bible teaches that. Nor is any sin to be acceptable. And when you and I accept sin, I hear this from people all my Christian life. Well, I know I shouldn't do that. Well, I know I shouldn't say that. I know I shouldn't be like that. But that is unacceptable as an honoring step to the Lord. When something is pointed out to each of our lives, and we know it is wrong, it's not wickedness, it's not pornographic, but we know also that it's not right. We should say, Lord, you help me work on that too. Don't allow any sin to be acceptable to me. And when we have an attitude, Paul says, of not allowing any sin to be acceptable to us, then we are honored by God, and he says we are meet for His use. then God can really, really use us.